What's up, Night Owl? Steely here, back with another Rime of the Frostmaiden video, and today we're going over Chapter 3, Sunblight. Now, this dungeon's going to be pretty big. I'm going to be walking through it in this video. I'm going to fill in what's in there, how you should handle it, what you should do about it, some of my own recommendations. So let's get to it. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, you want your party to be level 5 going in here, because 6 is the maximum amount of levels that they can get, according to the book, here in this chapter. Now, I'm going to go over real quick character advancement. Now, your party could come to Sunblight sooner than 5th if you want, depending on the size of the party and their overall power level. That's too hard to gauge. I couldn't really cover that in this video. Your party composition and how they prepare and how they play the game is just, it's too many variables. So I would recommend 5th overall. The book has a couple of rules for character advancement here in Sunblight. It says that if they defeat Sunblight, if they defeat Zardarok, they get a level. If they free the Myconid Sovereign, which is in the throne room, they can get a level. If they destroy the red heart of the dragon, they get a level. And if they find the plans to destroy 10 towns, they get a level. Now, that's a possibility of 4 levels to a maximum of 6. So they could come in as early as you like and get a ton of levels, but I recommend that they get the 1 level from coming in here, clearing the place out, defeating Zardarok, whichever one of these that they finish first, they get their 6th level, and then they can move on from there. Or you can change it to where when they defeat Zardarok and you can ignore the other ones. That's up to you. The book says maximum of 6, and this is how they get their levels. Now, before we get into the actual dungeon and have a look at that map, I want to go over some of the dungeon's features. For one, everything here, it has that Duergar sort of aesthetic, which is kind of a lack of aesthetic. You see, Duergar don't really decorate. They're really lawful, really strict, really to the function, not decorative. So everything in here is just smooth stone, no decoration of any kind. Really, just function is all they care about. So imagine your first base in Minecraft when like that first night in Minecraft where you carve a hole in the side and it's just stone all around. It's a big stone square. That's this dungeon. That's every room in this dungeon. Next is the Smoky Haze. The forge from the forge level creates this smoke that fills the entire dungeon, and there's this smoky haze all throughout, which lightly obscures everything in here. If the party takes a long rest here, they're going to get 1 less hit die than normal. And finally, most areas in this dungeon are warm and dimly lit by a couple of lit braziers. And one last thing before we get into the dungeon is Zardarok's location, the big boss. Where is he? The book says to roll a d20 on a table to determine where in the dungeon he is. I would recommend you just go through that list and kind of pick where you want him to be, or you could base it off where the party goes and kind of position him for a more dramatic effect. That's up to you. You could also roll on the table if you like, but I don't really care for that. What I did was I looked at the table and I just picked the one that I liked. And I've run a few groups through this, so I've kind of picked a different one for each just to kind of find my favorite. So the table will actually put him either in the throne, in the torture room, at the shrine, or in the forge. When the party ascends the staircase, they're going to reach Area 1, which is the entrance. There are 2 obstacles preventing the party from reaching Area 2. For one, the doors are barred shut from within and they cannot be opened from the outside, except with a knock spell. The next obstacle is a lowered iron portcullis. A knock could open this one as well. Fortunately, there is an invisible Duergar watching the party from an arrow slit. If this Duergar sees that the characters are having trouble getting inside, he will use the lever and winch to open up the doors and the portcullis. This Duergar is loyal to Grandalfa Musgard. More on her in a moment. And they're hoping that the characters will come inside and deal with Zardarok, or at least set up a situation where the other Duergar can deal with Zardarok. Area 2 is the Vestibule. There's also a Duergar watching an arrow slit here who is not loyal to Grandalfa. And as soon as they see the characters walk in, they will yell to arms, and all 9 Duergar guards in Area 3 are going to spend 1 round rallying before they pour out of the barracks and take on the party. Now, as far as running these Duergar, they are smart. They will try to create a bottleneck for the party here in Area 2, and 1 or 2 of the Duergar are going to use their heavy crossbows here at the arrow slit. Area 3 is the upper barracks. There are a total of 9 Duergar here, one of which is standing guard at the arrow slit watching for intruders in Area 2. The smaller rooms attached to this one are 10 by 10 and they have stone bunk beds protruding from the walls. And again, this is Duergar design, so these places look like a prison cell. No decoration, just smooth stone. There is a secret door in this room leading to Area 4, and a character can spot it with a DC 15 perception. Now, whether they use that secret door or they go around through the double doors, they're going to end up in Area 4, Zardarok's War Room. In here, the party will find the map of 10 towns and the dragon's flight path, as well as a small dragon figurine representing the dragon. Now, the book says that when they find this flight path, they're going to reach level 6. In my opinion, that seems kind of early. Even if they leave this area with the map and go chase down the dragon, it still feels kind of soon. They would reach the dragon, take him down, and then get to level 7 at that point. And then if they come back to Sunblight, they don't really get that level. So I would save the level up for Zardarok himself, but that's entirely up to you. By the book, they will gain a level here at the map. As far as the dragon figurine, it's worth 50 gold pieces, and if someone keeps it on their person for more than an hour, they will gain a random form of indefinite madness. Area 5 is Zardarok's quarters. In here, the party will find a large stone bed covered in soot-stained furs, and there's also a bas-relief of a giant scowling Duergar clenching its teeth above the bed. At the foot of this bed is an iron trunk sealed with a bulky padlock. The iron trunk is bolted to the floor, and a character can open it with a DC 20 Thieves' Tools or a knock spell. Inside is a couple of Zardarok's personal possessions. This trunk has an old school greedy trap from back in the day. If you take the last piece of treasure out of it, a hidden spring raises the trunk's false bottom, which causes the Duergar's face above the bed to open its mouth and belch a cloud of poisonous gas to fill the room. It lasts 10 minutes, and any creature that starts its turn in the cloud needs a DC 14 con save, or they take 40-10 poison. Save for half. Zardarok's room also has a closet on the west wall. Inside this closet is a 2-foot-tall statuette of Deep Duergar on a shelf, and there's also smaller shelves with statuettes of Mind Flayer skulls. A character can identify Deep Duergar with a successful DC 20 religion check, and if they lift the statue or otherwise look underneath it, they'll find that the base holds the key, which unlocks the iron trunk in Zardarok's bedroom. Anyone who touches this statue other than Zardarok needs a DC 16 wisdom save, or they're going to take 48 psychic, half on a successful save. Along with the psychic damage comes a terrible sensation of having one's brain devoured by an illithid. But once this happens, the statuette can be handled safely, but if anyone keeps it for more than an hour, they're going to get a random form of indefinite madness. Moving over to Area 6 is the guard post. In here is an invisible Duergar named Drek, who is trying to hide from the party in the southwest corner of the room. A character can spot him with a DC 14 perception check. If the party spots Drek, I would have him plead his case to the party that he is loyal to Grandalfa, at which point he could explain who Grandalfa is and explain that there are other Duergar here at Sunblight loyal to Grandalfa, and then I would have Drek escort the party to the area where Grandalfa is. One thing to keep in mind about Drek is that the party may ask him questions about the dungeon itself, so I would go ahead and keep in mind what he would know and what he wouldn't to answer any follow-up questions the party may have. For example, there is an elevator in this room that's going both up and down, and the party will probably ask Drek where those lead, which in my opinion is something that Drek would probably know about. Over at Area 7 is the office of the Captain of the Guard. This area is currently empty as the Captain of the Guard is being tortured in Area 34. Area 8 is the private dining hall, and this is where the party will meet Grandalfa Musgart. Now this part is going to be very important for you as the DM, because depending on how you present this is going to have an enormous impact on how the party handles this dungeon. Now, what I would recommend is that Grandalfa will approach this situation like a negotiation. Keep in mind, she wants Zardarok dead, and the party has no business with Grandalfa. If they try to turn this into a combat, then so be it. But Grandalfa is going to approach this like an opportunity. She wants the party to go down there in the forge level and deal with Zardarok and then get out. Doesn't want them to linger. And she even tells the party that they can keep any treasure that they find after Zardarok is dealt with. Now, whether she presents that now or after the fact is entirely up to you. But you want to present this in a way where the party actually has an option. If they go in and start mouthing off to Grandalfa and she just starts swinging, it's going to always end up in a combat. Or if the party goes in and she starts mouthing off to them, it's going to lead to a combat. Remember, the party is in this dungeon looking for combat, so it's incredibly dependent on how you present her and how you present this whole situation. You don't want the party to lose the opportunity to have an ally in here. Again, if they want combat, let them have it. They go in, they start swinging at her, they swing at the Duergar, they kill the dragon, her little baby pseudo dragon, whatever. That's entirely up to them, but you definitely want to present them the opportunity, because I think that most parties, if you give them the opportunity and Grandolpha will kind of present herself as an ally, then that could make for a much more interesting dungeon experience. But I digress. As far as what Grandolpha knows and doesn't know, she doesn't know where Zardarok is, but she assumes that he's at the Forge. She also knows that Zardarok is capturing monsters from the Underdark and plans on unleashing them on Icewind Dale. She will also mention that there's a Myconid sovereign down there as well. Grandolpha will tell the party that she thinks she can turn most of the Duergar here in Sunblight to her side, and she already has several that are loyal to her. Area 9 is a portcullis which leads to a wide shaft that the Chartland dragon uses to get in and out of Sunblight. Area 10 is Dearth's quarters. Dearth is Zardarok's eldest son, and he's here only if he was forced to abandon his hideout at the East Haven Ferry, or if he stole the Chartland from the East Haven Town Hall. If he hears suspicious activity outside of his room, he's going to shrink to tiny size and hide underneath his bed. Also here is Dearth's longtime companion, an intelligent mimic that speaks Undercommon. If the mimic gets into combat with the party, Dearth will roll initiative and join the battle on the second round. Area 11 is Nildar's quarters. Nildar is the youngest of Zardarok's sons. Nildar will be here if he was forced to abandon his post in the Unseen quest. If the ogre zombie from the Duergar outpost escaped with him, then he will be here as well. Area 12 is the training room. In here are several training dummies as well as 4 freestanding suits of plate armor. The training dummies are harmless, but if anyone touches or deals damage to the suits of armor, they will animate and attack. However, these animated armors cannot leave the room, and if there are no other creatures in the room for them to attack, they deactivate and revert back to inanimate state. This room, like Area 6, also contains an elevator that goes up and down. Each elevator stops for 1 minute on each floor and takes 1 minute to move to the next level. If the party takes the elevator from Area 6 up, they're going to reach Area 13, the Western Gear Room. In here, there are 2 hostile Duergar, which will spend their first turn in combat to grow large and then attack the intruders. There are also 2 Duergar Hammerers in the West Rooms. Once all creatures in the room have taken an action, roll initiative for the Hammers, and on their first turn, the Hammerers will emerge from their rooms and join the fray on the side of the Duergar. The massive gate in this room is what the Chartland dragon uses to enter and exit Sunblight. Area 14 is the workshop. There are 2 Duergar mechanics here, both of which are non-hostile, and they turn invisible as soon as they hear sounds of combat in the next area. I would recommend that you come up with a personality for these 2 mechanics and also what information they are willing to give the party if they spot them. If the party mentions Grandolpha to these 2 Duergar, you may even have it to where these 2 Duergar convert to her side as they're tired of Sunblight's abuse. Area 15 is the Eastern Gear Room. This area is similar to Area 13, and it has 1 Duergar standing guard by the lever that opens the big ice gate. If the party takes either of the elevators down to the bottom, they're going to reach the Forge level. Starting over at Area 16 is the Northwest Cavern. Over here is a group of 4 Duergar who are trying to restrain an Umberhulk with a bag over its head. If the Duergar see the party, they're going to pull the bag off of the Umberhulk, and then all 4 of them will go invisible. The enraged Umberhulk will immediately attack the party, and then once the party has dealt with that, the 4 Duergar will jump out of invisibility and attack them. This area has a 10-foot wide tunnel that goes on for miles and leads to the Underdark. Area 17 is the Duergar Mines. These mines provide the Duergar with all the iron that they need to fashion tools, weapons, exoskeletons for the Hammerers, and everything else that they might need. If the party decides to explore the mines, they're going to find 3 rust monsters who are scrounging for iron ore. Area 18 is the Guarded Corridor. This corridor has a dozen arrow slits along the walls, and there are 4 Duergar here, 2 on each side, with heavy crossbows that will fire at the party when they enter. Area 19 is the Chartland Throne. In here are 4 Quagoth Spore Servants and a variant Quagoth. The 4 Spore Servants are trying to harvest the fungal growths from the Myconid, while the main Quagoth tortures the Myconid Sovereign. The sound of combat will cause the 4 Duergar in Area 18 and the 4 Quagoths from Area 20 to come in and aid. If the variant Quagoth is killed, the Spore Servants will immediately pour spores over its body, causing it to animate. The throne in this room causes indefinite madness if a creature remains in contact with it for more than an hour. Area 20 is the Quagoth Den. In here are bones and beds made of moss clumps and fur. If they weren't drawn by the sounds of combat in Area 19, then there will be 4 Quagoths here gnawing on bones in this room. Area 21 are the Treacherous Guards. There are 2 Duergar here that have pledged themselves to Grandolpha Musgard. These 2 will allow the party to pass, and they have a 50% chance of knowing where Zardarok is if the party decides to ask. Area 22 is the elevator that leads up to Area 6 and then further up to Area 13. Area 23 is the Outer Gate. This iron gate is 10 feet wide and 15 feet high. The gate has a padlock on the eastern side. A character with Thieves' Tools can pick the lock with a DC 20, but they have a disadvantage because they have to reach through the gate to get to the lock. A knock spell can also open this gate. Any attempt to get through the gate will alert the Watchtower guards in Area 24 through 26. Area 24 is the Forge. This 10-foot tall stone forge is shaped like a pyramid with its peak sheared off. The forge emits a deep, pulsating heartbeat. A 5-foot deep trough extends east from the forge with rows of black anvils on either side. Any creature that touches the forge for the first time on a turn or starts its turn in contact with the forge is going to take 3d6. If a character gets close enough to peer through the vents in the side of the forge, they can see it contains a large beating heart. A DC 15 Arcana check will reveal that the heart belongs to a red dragon and is clearly being kept alive by magic. Area 25 is the assembly platform. It's here that the Chartland dragon was built, and it's also here where the dragon will go if it needs to be repaired. Area 26 is the base of the vertical shaft that leads up to the ice gate at the top of Sunblight, where the dragon will fly in and out of the tower. Surrounding Area 24, 25, and 26 are 4 20-foot tall guard towers, with Duergar standing behind the low battlements. There are 3 guards at each tower for a total of 12 Duergar. Area 27 is the giant lizard pens. There are 6 giant lizards here that are hostile to non-Duergar, and they are being kept behind closed gates that are latched shut but not locked. Area 28 is the dungeon. In here there are 3 Duergar hammerers that are here to prevent prisoners from escaping. They'll attack anyone outside the cells that they don't recognize. In one of the cells is a doppelganger currently in the form of a trapper from Dugan's Hole named Pico. Pico will tell the party that Duergar abducted him and asked him a lot of questions about his town's defense. The doppelganger will try to get some cold weather clothing and will stay with the party until they reach 10 towns. It also won't harm any characters unless given a reason to. Another prisoner is a Goliath warrior by the name of Kapanuk. If the party visits Wormdoom Crag and meets with the chieftain, they will learn about this Goliath and how he got separated from his hunting party during a blizzard. The book says that you can add additional prisoners to the cell block at your discretion, and believe me, this is where you can have a lot of fun. Fill this cell block with your favorite NPCs from previous games, your favorite player characters. Maybe your characters had some of their favorite characters from previous games. If you're running a party that you've run before, bring some of their characters and put them in here. Keep in mind that whatever characters you put in here, you're going to have to justify having them. If they decide to join with the party, they're going to help with all the combats. So you're going to have to kind of keep that in mind. Otherwise, they may just be like, oh, we want to get out of here. We don't have their equipment. If it's a wizard, they don't have a spell book, things like that. But yeah, fill this place up with some really cool NPCs. Have fun with it. They can be, and you can even have some like exotic NPCs like from all over the place here. Because keep in mind, these are Duergar from the Underdark, and they could have like slavers coming from all over Faerun. to fill out these cell blocks. You can definitely have some fun with this one, and I did. Area 29 is Deep Duergar's temple. It's here the party will find a 7-foot tall statue of Deep Duergar herself. The top of her head has been sheared off above the eyes, making space for a stone brazier that gives off a flickering flame. Chained to the pedestal of the statue is a mind flayer that is barely recognizable due to all the torture that the Duergar have done to it. This mind flayer has had its face tentacles amputated and part of its brain removed so that it can't use its psionic powers. It does keep its magic resistance and its telepathy, but it is currently a CR of 0. It really has no way of defending itself. If the party questions the mind flayer, they will learn that it was captured by Duergar in the Underdark and that its name is Fjorl. This mind flayer will also tell the party that this temple is dedicated to Deep Duergar, a Duergar god of conquest and psionics. It will also tell the party that Klondorn, the temple's priest, resides in the room to the southeast. The rooms to the northwest and northeast contain cold weather clothing and an assortment of weapons, including a great axe that belongs to the Goliath prisoner from Area 28. With a DC 15 perception, the characters can find a secret door that leads to Area 34. Area 30 is the eastern elevator, and at the base of this elevator is a Duergar hammerer standing guard. Now, it's here I believe the book has a misprint. You see, the way that this elevator lines up, being the eastern elevator, it should lead to Area 12 and then further up to Area 15. But the book lists it as Area 6 and Area 13. And I went ahead and confirmed this on Roll20 as well as the physical book. And all three of them, D&D Beyond, Roll20, and the physical book, all say that this elevator leads to Area 6 and then to Area 13. This, I believe, is a misprint because this elevator is the eastern elevator. It should be Area 12 and Area 15. So keep that in mind if you're just reading through the book and you happen to notice that this elevator is misprinted. Area 31, Devil in Disguise. Klondorn is the Duergar priest of Duergar and Zardarok's most trusted advisor. Klondorn is wearing a hat of disguise to conceal the fact that he's actually a barbed devil. Klondorn was sent by Asmodeus to help Zardarok conquer Icewind Dale. If the characters threaten Klondorn, he'll throw his hat aside to reveal his true form, and then he will attack the party. The Barbed Devil spends its time chiseling on granite tablets to inscribe them with infernal runes. Characters can read this to learn all about the Devil's Manifesto. Klondorn reveals that Asmodeus himself is in the guise of Deep Duergar, using the Duergar to further his interests. There are a total of 92 of these granite tablets stacked around the room, each of which weigh about 50 pounds. Area 32 is the Trapped Hall. In this hallway are a dozen black boxes that fire lightning bolts at any creature that enters the hall for the first time on a turn or it starts its turn in the hall. It's a DC 15 dexterity saving throw for half of the 48 lightning damage. Over at Area 33 is the Lower Barracks. There are 15 Duergar here, 10 of which have pledged their loyalty to Grandalfa. If the characters claim to be on Grandalfa's side, the 10 Duergar will turn on the 5 and they will fight. If the characters don't step in, then 5 Duergar will survive the battle, all of which are loyal to Grandalfa. They are willing to help the characters slay Zardarok, but any alliance they make with the characters ends after he dies. Area 34 is the Torture Chamber. Here the party will find a Duergar that has been shackled to a chair and is covered with blisters. There are a pair of hooded Duergar prodding her with hot iron rods. The two torturers are Duergar mind masters, and they want their prisoner to identify others involved in a coup against Zardarok. The prisoner, whose name is Nefrun, is actually innocent of the crimes leveled against her, and if anybody releases her, she will attack them to demonstrate her loyalty to Zardarok. A DC 15 perception check will reveal a hidden door that leads to Area 29. The closet to the south contains a bunch of torture devices, including whips, mallets, barbed scourges, spiked chains, branding irons, and the like. Area 35 are the guest quarters. In here are 2 beds draped in Yeti hide, and at the foot of each bed is a stone chest next to a stack of 5 sealed copper kegs. This room was set aside for Grandalfa, and the kegs contain Dark Lake Stout as well as Clan Musgart's finest mushroom ale, which Grandalfa brought with her from the Underdark. However, she doesn't keep any valuables here, and both of the chests at the foot of the beds are empty.
Area 36 contains 2 Duergar hammers who will attack anyone they don't recognize. The stone lever in this room activates and deactivates the lightning trap in Area 32. The iron portcullis leading to the treasure room can be opened either with Zardarok's gauntlet, a knock spell, or a DC 25 strength athletics check. However, if brute force is used, all of the portcullises in Area 37 will fall, which will seal off the 8 alcoves. Area 37 is the treasure vault. Each chest in here has a built-in combination lock, which can be opened with the combinations found in Area 5. A character can also open these chests with a knock or with Thieves' Tools, DC 20. These chests contain several valuable pieces of treasure and magic items. I'm not going to go through the entire list in this video, but I would recommend that you look through it and maybe tailor some of the magic items for your party, maybe more class-specific magic items or something that a party member has been looking for a while. Anything like that. You can modify this loot here. Now, as far as how to run Zardarok, regardless of where he is in the dungeon, his strategy is going to be pretty much the same. The first thing that he will do if he's not enlarged is to enlarge himself. After that, he's going to maintain concentration with a hold person on whoever he thinks is the most threatening party member. And from there, it's simply his Spike Gauntlet or Eldritch Blast. He'll Hellish Rebuke whoever hits him or whoever hits really hard. If it seems like the party gets the upper hand on him, he's going to react depending on what location he's in. If he's in the throne or the torture chamber, he's going to run to the elevator and go get Grandolpha's help, who will betray him when he gets low enough to where she can go for the kill. Now, if he's in the forge, he's going to retreat to Deep Duergar's temple, where he will gain the effects of the statue. It'll give him benefits, and there he will make his last stand. And that's it for Sunblight. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know how YouTube works. Hit those buttons, leave a comment down below. And just a real quick announcement. Today's video was uploaded pretty late, and it almost saved it for tomorrow. But I just want to let everyone know that's watching these videos that if you follow me on those socials down there, mainly Twitter and Discord, I will announce things like when a video is going to be late or just not happen, or what's going on in general. If you want to know what's going on with me, or if you want to talk to me directly, Discord, Twitter, that's the place to do it. Also, my Twitch link is down there. Occasionally, I will stream video games and game sessions. I'll probably stream more game sessions now that all my parties are at the interesting part of the adventure. But I don't know. It's really hard to manage. But follow me on those if you want to keep up with what's going on. And thank you for watching. As always, I'll see you at sundown.